So I'm bringing my energy back up. All right. So we are almost done, halfway through the day. How are y'all feeling? Good. Okay. Good energy, ladies and gentlemen. So I just learned that June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And just out of curiosity, did you all attend or hear about any events for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month? You did? Okay, so a handful. But I think that's also why I am just really excited, even just throughout this entire weekend, to hear the perspective from a man as they show up and the perspectives that they have, that they carry. And to now have a all-male panel talking about masculinity, which we all carry masculine and feminine energy. You know, so this is very much applicable to us ladies as well. But to have an entire panel full of men, I mean, you kind of can't help but to get excited about that, ladies. Okay. I just got married May 17th, you know, so, you know, he back there. Hey, boo, hey. Gorgeous man, girl. It's a running inside joke, okay, y'all? I'll tell y'all about it later. But to get to this panel for the brothers that are here, for the masculinity and mental health panel, we have, and as I call these brothers up, go ahead and give them a round of applause. We have Chris Reed. Chris is a sports management executive specializing in recreational and sports-based youth development, previously serving as the executive director for the Los Angeles Football Club. Chris is currently the director of national partnerships for the Center for Healing and Justice Through Sports and co-host of the podcast, Coaching While Black. Give him a round of applause. And you spoke on Friday, right? Or was that Friday? Okay. Yesterday. So you are now back. And now, returning from, I believe, on Friday, we have Alex Malebranche coming to the stage. Alex is a mental health advocate drawing from over a decade worth of tech and military experience. After years at Amazon and AWS, Alex founded and raised VC Capital as the solo founder of tech startup Plane Ahead before joining GitHub to help launch the company's first startup program. Welcome back. All right. Kenneth Scott, come on down. Now, this is the new face. I haven't seen you this weekend, but welcome. Kenneth is an author, speaker, musician, and educator. As a student athlete at University of Utah, he was awarded the most inspirational male student athlete and played professionally in the NFL and CFL. Currently, he oversees the DVHRT pilot program within the Harris County Domestic Violence Coordinating Council under the Domestic Violence High Risk Team, which helps individuals who have caused harm in intimate partner relationships become better partners, parents, and individuals. Welcome, Kenneth. Right. And finally, coming to the stage, we have Delwayne Stepney. Come on up. Making it to the panel. I got a funny story, but I'll share that later. As a 10-year military veteran, Delwayne brings discipline, resilience, and a strong work ethic to his practice. While in service, Delwayne became a certified personal trainer and earned certifications in drug and alcohol abuse counseling and nutritional health. For the past 3 years, he has been specializing as an integrative health coach, focusing on mindset and holistic health. Ladies and gentlemen, as we kick off this panel, give them some good energy. Come on, fellas.
We are going to just do our quick intros, a little bit who we are and why mental health is kind of part of our journey. And then we're going to start with that conversation that y'all just ended with in terms of defining masculinity, and then we'll have a greater conversation about that. Chris?
I'm Chris Reed from Washington, D.C., by way of Los Angeles, California now. Mental health for me, it's the reason I'm sitting here today. I had a tragic incident in 2017. I would not be sitting here today if that incident had have happened the way I thought it was going to. And that was the day I realized I needed help that I couldn't provide for myself, and my friends and my family couldn't. So I sought help, and it changed my life. So that's why mental health matters to me.
Alex Malebranche. My mental health journey started a long, long time ago when I was probably in high school, growing up in the situation that I did. And then I only compounded that by joining the Army for a number of years. I've been going to therapy for just about weekly for the better part of 9 years, and I need every single week of that 9 years. as was said before, my mental health has been tested through professional things, personal things as well. I'm a single dad, which is really amazing for me, but also provides its own challenges. And so, yeah, mental health is an incredible force, and one that I love to talk about whenever I get an opportunity to. So, yeah.
It is. We in there. I'm Delwayne. I am a military veteran. I did 10 years in the Navy. I'm a father first and foremost. I always tell individuals that, from Houston. And mental health is something that's important to me because as someone who's been a nutritionist and assistant physical therapist, personal trainer, all those things, one thing that was consistent was mindset. I could change anyone. I could help anyone get to where they needed to be once I changed their mindset. And mental health is important because I've endured. I've dealt with life on so many different spectrums as a son, as a father, as a sailor, as a Black man. Mental health is important to me because I understand that there's a void. There's something missing in regards to mental health in our community. And being a part of the solution rather than the problem is just beneficial in that aspect.
So my name is Kenneth Scott, and I'm a passionate advocate for social health in regards to building, improving, and maintaining relationships. A little bit about me, I was born here in Texas. However, I was raised in California in the Inland Empire, San Bernardino County to be specific. So, my California folk. But mental health is really important to me. And not only just from a sports background per se, but on a personal level. I met Lady Matilda. She mentioned her situation in regards to kidney transplant. And growing up with a mother, single mother raising me, she had lupus. For anyone who doesn't know what lupus is, a chronic disease, which means that there's no cure for it. In addition, it's an autoimmune disease, which means that your immune system that's supposed to be protecting you is now fighting against you. So with her having to deal with raising me all alone by herself, I used to hear her on the other side of the wall crying like consistently, like financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, and environmentally about all these factors that was affecting us. And so ultimately it affected me too. And so I took that out. Luckily, I had a great outlet in sports, which led me on a pretty good path. But once I got injured and that sport was taken away from me, I had to deal with the pressures of myself, like the things that's inside of my head. And so I had to go through counseling. And through counseling, I found clarity on who I was. And then once my mother passed away, I had to find out who I was again, because without that person who was the biggest foundation, driving force for everything I was, my mental health took a back turn, which ultimately messed me up and ultimately messed the people around me up because I was blocking off everybody. And so I needed to help myself to be able to help others as well. And so mental health is super important, and I'm so happy to be here so we can talk more about it and get more in depth into this situation.
All right. So so we just met for the first time a few days ago, and I'm gonna tell y'all, these guys are probably some of the most impressive people I've ever been around. I'm excited for this. Mel, take a note for next year. We need to have our own half day because 45 minutes is not about to be enough, but we're gonna hop into it. Miss Matilda over here, and ma'am, I won't have you walk up here, stand up because you have an injured foot. But, oh ma'am, no, don't worry about it. Just let me know if I don't phrase it correctly, all right? But the conversation y'all just had about what masculinity was, Miss Matilda was up here. She was the last person we met, so she told us what she thought, and that's where I think that we want to start. She said that masculinity to her is getting things done no matter what. Did I phrase that correctly?
Getting the job done.
Getting the job done no matter what. Okay. So we have been talking, before this panel a bunch, so I'd love to hear, pop it over to somebody. But when I hear getting things done no matter what, I hear walls. I hear compartmentalization. And so when you say masculinity to you is defined by that state of getting things done, compartmentalizing, my question is, where in that archetype does it allow a man to be vulnerable with their mental health, if at all?
It doesn't. It doesn't. So the getting the job done part of it. For those that know me, I love my work. I always have. I work with communities. I work with kids. My goal in life is to be the adult I needed at 9 years old, right? And my job now is to help other adults be that for other children. So my work doesn't have an end time. I don't get off at 5. I don't get off on the weekend. I work 7 days a week, and not only just in one space. I work around the country. I'm always on a plane. I'm always going somewhere else. So going at that speed, it hasn't allowed me for years to actually sit down and actually take in what I'm dealing with or feel what I'm feeling, because I'm taking everybody else's emotions. And I have to govern that and still do my job. And so getting my job done has always been top priority because it was always tied to my self-worth, right? And so if I take off from that, then I have nothing. And so that's where like the mental health part of it and the self-care that we talked about earlier today really comes into play, because a lot of Black men who are actually doing their job, who are actually the fathers, who are showing up as the uncle, who are showing up as the brother, who are showing up as the grandfather, also going to work and doing backbreaking work and doing all these things, but also being a supporting and loving husband, there's not a lot of space, right? And we talked about Father's Day the other day and how like y'all leave dad alone on Father's Day. Listen what I just said. Y'all leave dad alone on Father's Day. The day he's supposed to be celebrated and loved, we leave him alone. We let him go play golf or fish or grill. There's no love in that. There's no vulnerability in that. And so I think when we're talking about what masculinity looks like, especially for Black men, it does involve you all. It has to, right? It's not just we're macho and, getting a job done is a part of it, but there's also how you get the job done. It's also how you approach things and do things, and where's the you in that? And oftentimes, for the Black men that I know that are on their job like these Black men, we don't really think about us. There's not a me in it. It's a what am I doing for everyone else?
Yeah, it's a mental check-in. It's asking a man, how are you doing? And not asking the question, waiting to respond, but asking the question to listen. Oftentimes, I've experienced individuals, it'd be a transactional relationship. I'm only asking you this because I really want to tell you about my day. Not I'm asking you because I really want to know what is it that I can do to show up for you. And I think that we as men kind of know that going in, and we compartmentalize things on purpose, right? And because we don't have that practice of telling you how we're doing, we just don't, and we won't. And we keep those within. And just by a show of hands, how refreshing is this to hear men speak about their emotions? So I asked that question because we as men, we know women want to know. We know you want to know, but oftentimes maybe the delivery isn't there, or maybe the space isn't there. And it's on both ends as to why that doesn't happen. But actually working towards the communication aspect, towards how can I show up for him properly? We during happy hour we spoke about being a little spoon. I'm like, you better little spoon me. They act like they don't like it. They act like they don't let me like, hey, chill out real quick. And they'll nudge in real quick. But there are things like that to where we have to try to mask that masculinity and say self-care is not a thing. And then we find out early or later on down the fact how beneficial it is. I got upset when I found out about exfoliating scrubs and all the other stuff. I was just like, who's gatekeeping, the cucumbers and but so we're learning to take care of ourselves, but in doing so, we need y'all's help, because we don't know what it looks like sometimes.
So we're gonna go down to Kenneth, but you said something I want to get your thought on, Kenneth. Maybe it was just the voices in my head, or maybe I heard some of y'all thinking out loud. But you said something about, all right, when me as my partner, I'm going to go up and I'm going to ask, how you doing, without like trying to get something in return. What if they're with somebody that doesn't really know how to express how they're doing, right? So you're going to hear, no, I'm good, I'm fine. And as the partner, how can you provide enough safety for my partner to not be obligated to be able to put in words what he needs, but I care enough to look at some of the things that he's doing or know him well enough to then be able to say, okay, I heard what you said, but I know you well enough to do something different. So tell me about, like, if you're the man that can't vocalize exactly, how you're feeling or what you need at that moment, what as a partner can we do, to try and negate the kind of break that wall that's up there?
He must be talking about me, because that was me. If you asked my wife how hard it is to get through to me, I know I got a little peanut head, but it's like a thick layer around it. So when my mom passed away, I completely shut out everybody. I mean, it's a good reasoning for it, but literally I was siloed. And one thing that I got to credit my wife for is that she led with statements instead of asking me questions. So when he said, hey, babe, how's your day doing? I'm like, well, it's cool, it's whatever, right? But when she led with a statement, hey, I understand that you're not your normal self at this point. If you need me, I got you. I'm here for you. Just lead with statements instead of a question. And then that gives me the opportunity to take her on what she said and moving forward. So that helped us out tremendously, obviously counseling as well and therapy. But I think for me, because I'm quick to be like, it's all good, nothing. I'll worry about it. I'll do it. I'm good. I'll get through it. I'm that type of, because I want to do everything by myself, et cetera. But the advice I would give is lead with statements rather than questions.
So I think the other part of that too is, like, as young Black men, we're not taught to express how we feel, right? We're taught to internalize, be tough, especially if you play sports. I'm good. We'll get it the next time. Be a man, man up, those type of things. So, man, I didn't talk at all. I lost my grandmother. My grandmother raised me in 2009. She passed. I disappeared. I didn't even stop talking. My phone, I didn't have a cell phone. Don't talk to me. Only people that saw me was work and school. And you only see me for those specific purposes. I'm not talking, I'm not sharing, because I didn't know what was going on with me, and I was never taught how to put that outward. So now, at my big age, I credit my partner, Melissa, because when we first started dating, she made one real rule. We need to check in weekly. And that check-in is my one time, not my one time, not my only time, but it's the one time of the week where, like, whatever's going on, whether it's me and her, me personally, her personally, or just stuff in the world, we can just talk about it, right? And it's never been an argument, it's never been a fight, and it's always refreshing. And what I love about it the most is when we aren't, like, if there's no issues, it's compliments, it's love, it's support. And so it's refreshing to have that conversation every time because it's coming from a real space. But I think, again, having a woman set that tone where you're allowed to be vulnerable and it's not held against you later of like, oh, well, you said this or you saw, like just stuff thrown back in your face. I think that's what kind of is the fear for a lot of men. It's like, I'm afraid to tell you this because how's it going to come back? But having someone create a space for us, not for me to just talk, but for us to talk, it has allowed me to not only give, but also learn how to communicate and learn how to talk through things before I blow up on something minuscule later,
Yep. And just to add on that, one of the things that we did as well was create keywords. So if she knows I'm in a funk or I know I'm in a funk, I'll just be like, man, Rand's stressing. And so she knows, okay, whenever I say Rand's stressing, she knows I'm in one of those moods or in one of those spaces to where I don't want to be bothered. But, it just kind of breaks down that wall a little bit enough to where, like, she can peek in and peek through. It's like, okay, let me see in which way I can add value to him. And one of the things that helped me kind of open up even more is because I have two daughters. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. And the one thing that hit me so hard, was when I was authoring one of my first books. It was a memoir about my late mother. I compiled all her journeys. I got the author's copy in my hand. And my 6-year-old, she comes walking in the room and sits on my lap. And as I'm sitting on my lap, she's sitting on my lap, I hold my book in my hand, I'm proud, and I'm showing it to her. And she's like, Daddy, who's that? Because she never met my mom. And so here I am trying to act all macho and not cry because it hit me. I'm like, dang, and my mom's biggest wish was to have granddaughters, and I have 2. So in that moment, it hit me, and I was like, man, I hold these tears back, hold them back. And one of them things just fell. I said, doggone it. I'm trying to be a gangster right now. I can't be a gangster. But one of them fell off my cheeks, and she wiped my tear off. And she was like, it's okay, Dad, you can cry. And so, Lord, man. Woo. When she, I tell you then, I said, Lord, I'm about to hold back tears now. But yeah, that just did it for me. I was like, man, being vulnerable is valuable, you know, when it comes to relationships, and it provides that connection. And like we always say, is connection is currency. And so I value that. And so nowadays, man, I'm telling my babe, guess what, man? I didn't have a horrible day. Whoop, this didn't happen. Now she can't get me to shut up. Like, so it's like, or get me to stop talking. So that's some little tips right there.
We started with Matilda. I want to hear from another person if they want to share what masculinity, what you and your partner came up with, what masculinity is. Anybody want to share their? Yes, sir.
Well, I had one word that kind of came to my mind and it wouldn't go away, and it was protector. But protector in a different sense that we have grown up with protector. We always grow up, you know, I'm gonna be the strong, I'm gonna beat up anyone that comes to our house. No, protector is you protect the energy, you protect the space, you protect the emotions. I didn't get that growing up. It was chaos, it was scary. It was scary to be at home. But growing up, going through counseling, being hurt, seeing what a father should be, is like, my job is to protect the environment, protect my family emotions, let them have space to be who they are. Let my wife have space to be exactly who she is without trying to push that down because I'm insecure. Protect that space.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Again, I say I'm a father first and foremost. I didn't have a father growing up, and I got the advice to be a father from the same place some people do, TV. I watched the Cosby Show, you know, I watched Family Matters, and then I would find men who were in those spaces of fatherhood, and I would try to take bits and pieces of it. So saying that you want to be a provider and a protector, and you don't know what it looks like, is a very difficult thing. And I got it wrong a lot because I didn't have a father figure in my life, a consistent father figure in my life. And I remember one day in the car thinking about all the problems that I had. I'm trying to do things with social media and finance, and I just got out of the military, and I'm divorced, and I'm doing all these things by myself, and I broke down and cried. And, well, prior to breaking down and crying, I was thinking about my father not being in my life and me not being able to call him and be like, give me something. Let me try to figure it out. And I remember crying in that moment, so angry at that situation. But it was not only a healing, but a learning situation with that. And I forgave my father, and I was thankful for who he was, because had he not been who he is today, I wouldn't be who I am, which made me so much of a strong father. But to be a protector is to make sure that everybody else is okay. But I mean, we've talked about it before within these last few days. You got to put that seatbelt on first. You got to don that mask on first, like they say in the airports. You have to take care of yourself first. But again, we're still trying to figure that out, you know. And one of the things that we talked about earlier was grace. Men don't give themselves enough grace. We're very hard on ourselves, and that solitude can be so dangerous. And when we get into the statistics of suicide, of drug abuse, of alcoholism, they skyrocket. You know, it is on another scale, you know, when you look at things as far as percentages with men and with Black men specifically.
To go off of something that both of y'all said, one thing I learned in therapy a number of years ago, and it'll stay with me, is the metaphor of the man of the house being the thermostat. The man in the house is the thermostat. So if you are running hot, the whole house is hot. If you're running cool, the whole house is cool. So it's my job in regard to like being the protector of the energy of your house. If in a situation I'm concerned, I'm chaotic, I'm stressed out, I'm setting the tone for the rest of my family. And so that's just something I always keep in mind, and I have multiple, reminders in my own, like, as I walk through my house, right? In Texas, there's, you got like 3-4 ACs for one house. You have to. But anytime I pass one, it's a reminder of like, all right, like it starts with me. And like, if I want to set a good emotional and, mental, level for the people in my household, it's my job to be able to disseminate information and stress and chaos, and it stops with me, and then everything behind me kind of settles out. I know we're maybe getting a little bit low on time. There's something that we want to thank you. There's a conversation that I think is really, really important that we were talking about before as well. And I don't know where y'all want to go with it, so I'll just kind of throw it out there. But one of the main reasons why mental health is tough for men is because we have a lot of pride and massive egos. And so we want to chat about like how those egos come into play, and maybe as a partner or as a sister or an aunt, or if you have other men that you care about in your life, how that you can maybe deflect some of that ego, or maybe identify it and ignore it for the purpose of caring for the person that you're there with. So who wants to take it from there?
I love asking questions, right? How many of you in this room have had a man lie to you? I've seen 2 hands go up in one person, eh?
That was for the dad and the husband.
Yeah. I asked that question because in some of those situations where you've been lied to by a man, was he lying to you or was he lying to himself and you? Both of them. B-O-U-F is what she said. And
Both of them.
And I say that because if a man is constantly lying to himself, not only is he going to lie to you, but that means he's lying to himself on so many different things. A quote that there was a young lady that said it, but it's something that I stand by as well. How you do anything is how you do everything. And in those situations in regards to ego, taking it back to ego, men often lie to themselves to create this narrative in their mind. I'm the macho man, I'm tough, and all the other stuff. And you'll cry on Frozen if they turn it on. But
don't sleep on Frozen.
I'm telling you, it'll happen. But to break that barrier, it's to understand that man could possibly be lying to himself, and ask him, not only based off of his words, but his actions. Like, you're moving in a certain way, and I know you're trying to support me or do whatever it is that's necessary for the family or for this relationship, but are you lying to yourself? What is it that you actually need in this moment, rather than trying to mask those things and cover it up with ego and all that?
Can I add?
Yeah.
I think the other thing too is, have you ever really met that man? Do you know him, who he really is? Has he ever really been himself around you? Has he ever shown joy around you? Because see, if it does, it takes time, right? It takes a lot of time. And what I've learned in my life, and especially in my current relationship, is that I'm with somebody that lets me be me all the time, right? And I've never been able to do that in the past because I've always been held to a standard of, you got to be this type of guy. You got to drive this type of car. You got to have this type of money. You got to do this for me. It's always doing for folks that got me in trouble. And not just relationship stuff, but like community stuff too, work stuff. I'm always outputs. There's nothing coming in. And so when I got to a space and I got to a person that allowed me to be me, man, we were watching just a random movie called Klaus on Netflix. Man, I boo-hooed. Christmas movie, I boo-hooed. And like, she saw the tear going down my eyes. She was like, I was like, yeah, I'm crying. But in that moment, I knew I'm in the safest space I could possibly be in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing for a lot of Black men, is that we've never found our safe space. And so it's hard to have a mental health journey or a health journey or to do the right thing or to have a positive outlook on life if you're not even in a safe space. If your environment is toxic, if your environment is telling you all the negative things about you, and then you start to internalize that, it's hard to do anything else.
I see you. I'm going to say one thing and then I'm going to come to you. you skirted right by it. So I want to make sure we bring it back a little bit. Because you asked us the other night, when was the last time you saw your partner or a man that you care about experience true joy, unadulterated joy? Like, not, I'm enjoying this, I'm content with this, joy. Quick, my girlfriend's sitting in the front here. We've been together for a year. The first, I would say, based on our conversations, the first time she saw joy from me was 2 weeks ago when NCAA football came out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
She was like, oh, this is okay.
It's different.
How can I? She's like, all right, well, I took the whole week off work, and my cousin flew in from Chicago so that we could play our PS5s next to each other. And she said, okay, well, just tell me what food I can make, and then I'll just make the food for you. I said.
With the headset on? You have the headset on?
Headset on. Headset on. I told my cousin this was going to happen. He was flying in. I said, hey, we just need to tell Jada what we want to eat, and she will make it and bring it to us so that we don't have to stop. And he said, did you buy her a ring?
How much of a flex is that?
It's not, because I got the same thing.
Come on.
It's not. It's not. I got the same game.
This ain't about you.
Same game. I got the same thing at home.
Hey, you got PS?
Yeah.
Yo,
we got to connect.
Tag. All right. Anyway, that type of joy, though, that's after a year, right? And so I'd be interested to hear, maybe in conversations after this, because, we're running out of time and things. When was the last time you actually saw your partner experience joy to the point where, like, okay, like that's who he is, right? I've seen him.
Seen that kid in it.
There it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you had a question.
Yeah, I do have a question, but I do want to respond.
Please.
My husband is a very conservative, kind of quiet man, and the first time I was watching football with him. I don't like football. I was reading my book. He scared the shit out of me. I'm reading my book, and he's like, and so I knew from then on I just need my headset so I could read the book. But I wonder, we're raising a beautiful black boy, and he has been indoctrinated already, like, of how to be a black man. And I could see all the insecurities, and it's almost like it's out of my hands, How do you advise a mom to make space for a little 14-year-old, not little, he is 5'11", 215 pounds. He's not little, but he's little to me, he's my baby. How do you give that space for a young boy so he doesn't go through life not knowing how to express himself?
It begins with family.
I'd start off with acknowledging the fact that you see it. And from there, offering the support. It's simple. I see that you're struggling with this, and I want to do my best to support you. How can I show up for you in that way? And then just from there, he has the answers. We won't have that answer. He will. And it's giving that safe space, like we talked about before, giving that safe space to allow him to answer when he's ready. He might not even answer at that point in time. I'm fine. I'm good.
We're going to be fine for the rest of our life.
Yeah. But we look at it and we point it out. I seen that again. And just know, I see it. I support you. Let me know what I need to do.
I think something that Kenneth said earlier might be a good one as well. Leading with statements instead of questions. I think if you lead with statements in that instance, you'll at the very least allow him to be prompted that someone's watching me.
I see you.
Someone is in tune with what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe he doesn't have the ability or the vocabulary to be able to express it to you, but he does know that someone sees him and cares about him and is allowing space for him.
That's good.
And so I think at the very least that's where you would start. I also saw something, and I'm not sure how this might work with a boy. It was more for girl. I'm a girl dad. I've got a 6 and a 3 as well. We're gonna need to link up.
There we go. Play dates.
Absolutely. But it was a girl dad thing. But I think it might work as well here. But I saw this thing where you write write on a note card or like, you know, some sort of laminated card. Like this is for you to express yourself without punishment. And you put the card the card sits on their dresser or whatever else. And so if they're in trouble or if they're in like real need, they bring you the card and it's like, whatever you're about to tell me, like let's say, you know, you selling drugs. This is not the place where you're going to get in trouble for that. You need space for security. That's your security card. And so perhaps allowing that kid, especially if they're in fear of getting in trouble, doing something wrong. My 6-year-old is very, very sensitive about making sure that I'm happy. It's like, Daddy, I don't want you to be mad at me. So like giving an opportunity for them to be like, all right, this is whatever you're about to say to me, the love is about to be met with it.
Yep. That's crazy. Just to add on to it. So when I was younger, I was that very shy kid, reserved. I was in my room all the time. And I remember one time my mother walked into the room and just saw me writing and making music. And so my mother, she was like, she led with statements. She said, I noticed this. If you're ever feeling that way, just put it in your music and I'll listen to it later on. Or if I'm writing, I'll write it later on. And what's so crazy is now my oldest daughter, Brooklyn, she's 6 years old. Whenever she's mad or sad, if we had to discipline or whatever, she'll write on her note cards and then post it on our wall. And I remember one time I walking back in my office, and I seen a whole bunch of like sequenced note cards and said, I love you, Dad. I hope you're not mad at me. I won't do it again. And I was just like, man, but it's her way of expressing, like, and I realized writing is one of the things that she loves to do, art. So she's drawing all these art figures. And so much so that I was like, you know what? I see that joy in you, that you love writing, you love this. Let's take this to another level. And we end up doing a children's book based off of her, because I understand that brings her joy. So every time we go some places, she loves art, museum, etc. But it's that space. So like, if we go to the museum, now we openly talk about everything. What's this art? What are you thinking about when you look at this art? And she would tell me all the things that she's doing or thinking about. And so that created a safe space through joy from me and then also from my kids.
Yeah. I will also say, if you understand the brain at all, depending on how old your kid is, they're not using their high level, but their feelings are intact. So getting in tune with how they feel. And I think for me growing up, I was always told my opinion didn't matter. How I felt didn't matter. So that manifests as I got older. So for your son, how he feels is really important. And also finding ways to communicate with them, how they want to communicate, because these kids communicate differently. They grow up with cell phones and they speak in code now. I don't know. Like, I saw CMP the other day. I was like, what's CMP? He's like, call my phone. I was like, just tell me what it is. You know, just tell me what it is at this point. But I think my point is, especially for young men, they need to know that they can speak to you, as opposed to that they can't or they're not supposed to. Because that's how we start to harbor things. That's how we start to do things behind folks' back, sneak out the house, steal the car, do X, Y, and Z, because I was too afraid to even tell my mom I like to skate or I like to go to the party or I like to go do this because she's going to be mad at me, right? A lot of what your young people do is out of fear of how you're going to respond. So if you create a safe space where it's just like, you can talk to me. You don't have to talk to me all the time, but you can talk to me and talk to me in your way and I'll get it. That'll work wonders for any male in your life, but especially a young man that's in his teenage years.
We running low. Maybe we could take 2 more questions. Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to respond really quick. Not a shameless plug, but I create 30-day journals, and I have a free one in a car that I love to give your son for the youth.
That's beautiful.
I'm a relationship coach. I did a session Friday on mastering conflict resolution, but these type of things are important to me as well. So I create 30-day journals for every subject. I have grief. Anybody that I see anyone going through around me, I have a grief journal. I have youth journals, as well as couple journals and all that other kind of stuff. Because journaling is important. And I was talking to my cousin yesterday on how we used to, as girls, do diaries, right? Yeah. But now, I don't think a man will walk around saying, I have a diary, right?
I call it a man book.
There we go. There you go. There you go.
I got mine.
He said that with bass, too.
No, mine is in the back, my man book. But there was a young lady who had a journaling table that we did yesterday, and she said writing down things makes a man exact. It was a very
say that one more time.
She said writing down things makes a man exact. And when myself as an individual who writes a lot, and I've carried all those black books. I'm the type, I used to buy the books from Marshalls or TJ Maxx, and I had like 5 or 10 of them, and I didn't know where to start or how to start, but I just continued to write. And when I write things down, it manifests in such a beautiful way. So allow your son to write. But I wanted to tap into the questions that we asked as far as joy. When we find out what that man's joy is, you don't necessarily have to be a part of it. You're not expecting your girlfriend to play the video game with you, but what she did as far as the snacks. Ooh,
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm still on that. Oh, but you don't have to participate. You don't have to watch the football game. You just have to be. You just have to be supportive. You got to make sure the pillows are fluffed and all those other things, and we're going to make sure everything is taken care of outside of that. But in that joy aspect, whatever that man's joy is, whatever that boy's joy is, then just see how you can enhance that and allow space for it, because it is very contradicting to see that joy and give it something and give it something negative.
It's the little things. It's the little things. She'll even ask me, for those who even know what I'm about to talk about, she'll even ask me after playing until 3, 4 a.m. the next morning, she'll say, "Did you win the championship?" I'd be like,
"It's a girlfriend? Where you get one of those at? What you gotta... I gotta find one of them, because..."
Like, she like, did y'all win the game? It's like, well, no, but... Well, you need to win the game. Yeah. Hey, man, now I'm ready to go. Questions. Yeah.
A comment and a question. Based on like what your question was about like how to connect and find the person and have them talk to you. And also yesterday, the panel that you were on with the forensic psychologist, he was saying how she always reaches out, even if they don't talk back. What that conversation and this conversation today is reminding me of is a quote by Donald Winnicott, which is, "It's a joy to be hidden, but it's a disaster not to be found."
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
And so the search.
Say that one more time, please.
It's a joy to be hidden, but it's a disaster not to be found.
Yeah.
There's peace in solitude, right? We all love solitude, and sometimes solitude can be very dangerous, because you really start loving yourself, and you don't want to. You want somebody to see you. I just want to be seen. You know. Yeah.
That's my comment. But my question is, because a lot of, especially what black men have to go through, is having that wall up for the protection, literal protection, so that you don't die. So I'm wondering how it is for you guys to have to switch back and forth between that, in terms of having the vulnerability, the softness, the being able to put your guard down, but then knowing sometimes when you leave your house in the morning, you have to put it up.
I'm 2 different people.
Yeah.
I am. I'm 2 different people. Who my partner gets is the full me.
Yeah.
Full stop. She's going to see all sides of me. Everybody else, I'm going to govern myself how I see fit around you. If I don't feel safe, I'm going to be as hard as I can possibly be, because I have to protect myself, right? What the world gets and what I give to my home are 2 different things, because they have to be. I can't be the same person outside that I am inside, because then there's no separation.
But is that exhausting at times?
No, it's comforting. It's comforting to come home. I'm happy when I get home, because now I can take all that off. I can just be what I need to be.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. One man, the funniest thing, my daughter, she has these analogies, right? So just to add on to what we saw the card. I'm sorry. Just to add on to what Chris was saying, we go out in the world outside of our house with this different persona, and we come in with this different persona, well, with the persona of us. So one day I came in the house and I was kind of frustrated. I was fatigued with outside the house things coming into the house. And my daughter told me one simple thing that just changed my whole thought process about everything. She was like, "Dad, take off your shoes. Because what you're bringing from the outside, do not bring it in here."
No, she did not.
I swear to God. And she's a writer. She's very artistic. She said, "Dad, take off your shoes." Right? And I was like, and then I start thinking like, you get what I'm saying? Take off your shoes. Get comfortable. Like, and that just hit me like, boom. So when you had said that, and when you had said that, that just reminded me.
I'm about to get a tattoo now.
Yeah, you said. Hey, I'm covered. But yeah, so now when I'm coming into the house, I take off my shoes just to release everything from the outside so it won't get inside the house. So,
my man, I saw your question. We're running. Can I? No. Can I? Okay. All right. Last question.
It wasn't a question. It was more of a response. Okay. I do agree with you that your safe space at your home, it's a joy to walk into that space. But I also understand your question, and it is exhausting.
Yeah.
Because to be constantly having to code switch depending on your area that you're in or the space that you're in can be very taxing. But to have a safe space, which I have one at home, I'm very grateful to have that space. But I also have to be mindful that when I'm in that space, I can't just always expect to give all the time. I should also be receiving. And that exchange is a dicey one at times. You have to know, because she also is human. She's also dealing with a lot. You know, she's mom. She has to go to work and deal with all of the same things. Or not exactly like you, but she's also dealing with things.
Absolutely.
So I'm also mindful of holding space for her when she comes in, because we both can be exhausted, having to deal with the world and all of the things the world is throwing at us all the time. So coming home, that should be a safe space where you don't have to have that guard up. But it takes a while to let the guard down as well, because you had it up all day long in every room that you're in. If you're driving, especially in Texas, it's an open carry state, you gotta be careful. Because now you're on the road and you have to have your guard up and also paying attention. You go into the job, you're talking to somebody, you have to keep your guard up. It's a lot. So to me, it does that.
So I just wanted to piggyback. The reason why that works for me is because my home has never been a safe space. I've been on this planet for 38 years, and for the last 3 years, I've finally found home. I didn't have that before. So the stuff outside, I've been doing that. That's easy work at this point because I know how to govern. This is new and it's safe, and it's something I'm leaving here right now. When this is over, I'm getting on a plane and going home, sleep in my bed. I can't wait because that's where I feel the most like me, right? So the code switching and all that, I've been doing that. That's been a part of our life. If you look like us, it's been a part of your life since you were able to walk and talk, right? But having a home that's safe, that provides what you needed to provide for you, that's still new to me. So that's why it's easier for me to let that go. Yeah.
Before we get the Apollo broom, we're gonna wrap. What we're gonna do is one final comment, and then where can we find you if we want to keep up with you, catch up with you, reach out to you, etc. So one final comment, and then where can we find you?
That's a good one. I would say don't allow the outside like pressures to navigate you from the purpose of what you're trying to or intend to do. Like there's so much stuff externally that can affect us internally in regards to pressure financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, environmentally, all these pressures that can affect us in our purpose of being the best and giving the best. So don't allow those outside pressures affect internally what's going on. And you can find me on Instagram, kscott_2. Twitter, I hardly ever be on Twitter, but it's kscott_2 as well. But yeah, find me on Instagram, kscott_2. I'll follow back. I love engaging. It's fun to me meeting new people and networking. So don't be a stranger.
My final thoughts are: you can't pour from an empty cup. And I'll just leave it at that, right? If you want to find me, I'm on Instagram, easy to remember, Black Vegan Man. I've been vegan for about 7 years. So if you want to reach out as a client, as someone who just has questions in regards to health and wellness, you find me on Instagram, Black Vegan Man, Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, Facegram, whatever them kids use nowadays.
Final thought, bringing it back to the topic of masculinity. And I'll say, to me, masculinity is consistency, especially when it comes to your mental health journey. As a man, we need to be consistent, but we need a consistent environment around us too to be able to take those steps. You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is really hard to, it's a really weird thing. So if you follow my organization, it's chjs.org. On there, you can find, like, you'll see pictures of me. You can find my Instagram from there. And then we have a podcast, Coaching While Black, that's on YouTube, but also through the CHS org page on Instagram. So you can find me there.
All right. And lastly, I would just say to love yourself. Please love yourself in an authentic way. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Love yourself in an authentic way. You can find me at Boytwig, Boytwigg. People are like, why Boytwig? Malebranche, Boytwig. That's how you can remember how to say my last name. I know, right? There's a story behind that, but we out of time. Oh, my God. So at Boytwig, Instagram, boytwig.com. Also, I got a mental health streetwear line coming out soon. So if you want to look out for that, at Code 22 Apparel.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's been a blessing to be here and to be able to share this opportunity with y'all. So thank you very much.
Thank y'all so much.
Give the brothers a round of applause, y'all. Big time.